When I confessed to my husband that he could never fulfill me the way my former lover had, a suffocating stillness enveloped the room, heavier than any burden I'd ever borne. It was as though I'd hurled a bomb into the foundation of our shared existence, bracing for the inevitable detonation. His face didn't crumple into tears, nor did his hands tremble. He didn't erupt in shouts or shatter objects as I'd anticipated. Instead, a serene, unwavering smile crossed his lips, slicing through me more sharply than any fury could. That smile revealed something that chilled me to my core. Not grief, not wrath, but liberation. He rose, methodically folding his clothes into the suitcase he'd already retrieved from the wardrobe. In that instant, I understood this wasn't the first time he'd contemplated departure. My words had merely provided the final push, the last piece of a puzzle he'd been assembling in silence. I scrambled to retract my statement, claiming it was spoken in anger, a slip of the tongue. But deep down, I knew it was no mistake. It was the venom of my resentful heart spilling out. And now, there was no undoing it. He didn't respond. He packed with deliberate care, like someone closing the final pages of a story he'd grown weary of reading. When he sealed the suitcase, he turned to me and said softly, "You've given me the clarity I needed." Then he walked out, his posture proud and unyielding, leaving behind a silence so deafening it still reverberates in my soul. I wanted to scream, to beg him to stay, to collapse at his feet and plead. But a part of me knew he'd already left long before he crossed the threshold. For months, I'd been cruel, pushing him away, measuring him against a man who never truly cared for me, testing his endurance. He'd borne it with patience, with love, until I finally shattered something irreparable. At first, I convinced myself he'd return, that no man could abandon his wife so decisively, that he just needed space to calm down. But days stretched into weeks and weeks into months. He wasn't cooling off, he was methodically erasing me from his life. Mutual friends revealed he'd closed our shared bank account, redirecting his savings beyond my reach. He terminated our lease, removing his name from every document. He instructed our acquaintances to keep him out of my turmoil. He even severed ties with my family online. It was as if he wanted no remnant of me to linger. And he did it all with composure. No outbursts, no public spectacles, no defamation, just quiet resolve and distance. That silence wounded me more deeply than any harsh words could have. I called him countless times, sent endless messages, some apologetic, some furious, some feigning indifference. But his phone remained silent, his responses non-existent. He decided I no longer deserved his attention. And that realization broke me in ways I never thought possible. I'd always believed he needed me more than I needed him, that I could say or do anything, and he'd remain, steadfast and forgiving, waiting for me to come to my senses. I was mistaken. He possessed a strength I'd never acknowledged. When I pushed him beyond his limits, he didn't retaliate. He simply walked away, his dignity intact, leaving me to collapse in the wreckage I'd created. I sought solace in the ex I'd held up as a standard, hoping there was truth in my cruel comparison, that I could recapture some fleeting excitement. But all I found was a void. That ex never loved me. He only used me for fleeting attention. When I appeared at his door, broken and desperate, he mocked me, calling me a convenient error. That moment clarified what I'd discarded. Not just a marriage, but a man who genuinely cherished me, who offered stability, devotion, and care no one else could match. I'd destroyed it for an illusion. Now, I wake each morning in a bed that feels vast and frigid, scrolling through photos of him on my phone like an addict chasing a fading high. Each time I linger on his smile, I'm transported back to that final day, when he left without a backward glance, without pleading for me to stop him. That memory torments me more than any nightmare. I catch glimpses of him sometimes from afar. He looks vibrant, stronger, as if my betrayal unburdened him. Part of me yearns to approach, to fall at his feet and confess my regrets. But I know it's futile. His eyes no longer reflect the man who once adored me. They shine with freedom, pride, and a quiet vengeance that will endure. His revenge is in thriving without me, in proving I was never as indispensable as I believed. I don't share this story for pity. I share it because it's the most unfiltered truth I've ever faced. A single reckless confession can obliterate a lifetime of devotion. Pride can propel a man further than love ever could. And sometimes the harshest punishment isn't rage. It's being erased, forgotten, as if you never existed. I told my husband he could never measure up to my ex. But the truth is, my ex never came close to the fulfillment my husband provided. Now, with him gone, my heart empty, my nights hollow, I finally grasped what true satisfaction was. It was security. It was fidelity. It was a man who stayed when no one else would. And I discarded it. Now, I'm shattered in ways I never fathomed, left with only my voice echoing in the silence I crafted. A silence that will never be filled.